What's going on, guys? This is Jay Mancini. You already know we keep the wheels rolling and the cash flowing. So today, guys, I wanted to answer the questions that you guys have been asking. So listen, I wanted for other viewers to actually also get to hear these answers that I give to your questions. I love the fact that you guys have reached out to me saying, Jay, man, it was great information you gave on the business plan. But I also want to address the guys that keep sending the emails saying, Jay, I missed it. Unfortunately, I had things that came up. I had things that I had to do with the family, personal situations. I missed it. And now, you know what? I want to watch it. What can I do to watch it? So for you guys that have sent all these emails, we're going to talk with the team here and we're going to be coming up with something here with a solution, possibly sending you a link with a 24-hour access, 24 hours only, so that you can go ahead and watch the business plan. Now, if you missed it, send me an email saying that you missed the business planning webinar. And guys, we're going to send you a link here soon. The team's going to be working on that with a 24-hour access to watch that business plan. With that being said, guys, let's get to the Q&A. All right, guys, so I got a question here from somebody on the YouTube. What is the best platform or place to find a used Peterbilt dump truck or Kenworth? Or do you have a method that works best to find trucks for sale? All right, so best platform or place to find a good dump truck for sale. So there's several, guys. Number one, you've probably already heard this. Go to truckpaper.com. You're gonna basically find, all kinds of dump trucks. You can literally go in there and you can search in your city, you can search in your state, you can search across multiple states. You'll be able to find a lot of dump trucks on there. Actually, I just have a friend who actually found two trucks. They were actually in San Antonio. My friend lives here in Houston, but they were in San Antonio. And surprisingly enough, he's like, man, I went on the website and they were actually at the dealership. He said, surprisingly, the guy that was selling the trucks had taken them to the dealership. And I think he was gonna try to sell them to the dealership. However, my buddy was able to get a hold of him first and got the trucks, purchased the trucks from both of the trucks from the guy before the dealership bought the truck. So it turned out to be a good deal for him. Another place where you guys can also do some research is on Facebook Marketplace. To be sincere, yours truly has actually found several trucks on Facebook Marketplace. I've been out to Arizona, out to California before, and yes, I've gone on Facebook Marketplace and I've actually, of course, made some calls, asked several questions. I make sure that I do my due diligence. I get videos. It's very important. I get videos, multiple videos. And most importantly, I like to have them send me a video, not only showing me the truck, but the engine. I like to hear the engine. I like to make sure that everything looks like it's working and in good condition. And for me, guys, I've been fortunate enough to also have a few contacts. So what I do is I have some of my contacts go and kind of look at the trucks before I actually fly out there or send somebody to go out there and check out the truck. But with that being said, Facebook Marketplace is also a good place for you to check. And another thing that's also worked for me in the past, guys, if you go to a local quarry, a sand pit, or an asphalt gravel supplier, some of the guys there that are actually working, you'd be surprised. They probably know somebody that's selling a dump truck. So you can also ask those guys and be like, hey, do y'all know anybody that's selling a dump truck? I'm interested in finding a dump truck. Some of those guys are actually guys that are, for whatever reason, trying to get out of the business, or they're got multiple trucks and just want to upgrade to a newer truck. So that's another source where you can also find used dump trucks. All right, guys, so this is from the YouTube. So I had somebody here basically asking, do you have some type of release form for the customer or the contractor when you get to the job site and you're in your dump truck and for whatever reason, let's say you get to the job site and it's in bad conditions and you feel like, hey, I may get stuck, the ground is wet, if my truck gets stuck, I may end up breaking a differential or breaking something else. So what do I do in this scenario? Do I go ahead and try to go in the job site, dump the load? Who's responsible? So this is actually a great point. And actually, guys, this just happened to us recently. So here in the greater Houston area, I've mentioned before, there's a lot of rain, especially throughout the fall. So we just had a batch of bad rain and you know what happened? We go out to the job site, contractor wasn't out there really taking care of the job site the way they probably should have or could have, right? And so the ground was still moist. We sent out a few trucks and you know what happened. The first three guys that went out there, yes, they got stuck. Unfortunately for them, they got stuck. But the good thing was nothing broke. Trucks were okay. They had to pull them out. They tied the chain to a bulldozer. Bulldozer pulled them out. So good for them. However, nobody wants to go through this experience. So this is actually a good point that he brought up here. And this is on the YouTube. So in this case scenario, guys, what I would do personally, if you're out there on the job, okay, especially if you're new, okay, you probably don't know or not sure what to do. So the first thing that I would do, guys, and I tell my guys here in Houston the same thing. If you know it's rained the day before or 2-3 days before and you're not certain and you notice that the ground may look a little wet or may look like there's still moisture, guys, honestly, what I would do, and this is what I tell my guys to do, is get off your truck, okay? Park the truck somewhere safe towards the entrance. If there's a bull rock entrance on the job site, before you get onto the actual, ground, where there's dirt, pull the truck off to the side, get off your truck, guys, and, make sure you have your safety equipment on and go out there and walk the ground, literally walk the ground. And you'll know if you out there walking the ground and you got your construction boots on and you know that it's muddy and you can tell that there's a lot of moisture in the dirt, and you step down and that dirt just kind of sinks in, well, you already know what's going to happen when you have a dump truck loaded full of material, right? So if you know that the ground is soft and it's going to give out on your truck, guys, just be straight up with the contractor or whoever's there, right, receiving the material, and just tell them, hey, listen, I noticed that the ground is soft. I don't want to get my truck in any trouble. I don't want to get myself in any trouble. I don't want to jeopardize anything or anyone here on the job site. So can I dump somewhere where there's some hard ground? Therefore, we can both be on the safe side. My truck won't get stuck. You don't have to pull me out. And most importantly, you don't waste any material. So with that being said, that would be my recommendation to you. Now, if the contractor, for the lack of a better word, is a little hard-headed and he says, no, I want you to go dump over there, and you know it's wet, well, guys, just be very honest with him and be like, listen, I don't want to get in trouble with my truck. I don't want anything to break. And look, I also don't want to put myself in a bad situation where you have to pull me out and you may be liable if something breaks on my truck when you're pulling me out, right? So look, unfortunately, I can't dump over there. The other thing I would do is I would take a video, guys, take a picture of it, right? Just to kind of protect yourself, because whoever sends you out there to dump that load, they're going to want to know, hey, Johnny, why didn't you dump that load over there? Well, you have evidence. You have a picture, you have a video of the reason why you didn't dump that load. All right, guys, this next question, I've actually seen it multiple times. They put, can you use a factoring company as a broker? Guys, yes, you can use a factoring company as a broker, but as you already know, if you don't know, factoring companies, that's how they make money, by factoring. They're like a bank in a way. They're a third party. What they do is they charge you a percentage. Some of these guys are probably going to charge you anywhere between 5 to 10%. And it's safe to say at least a minimum of 5 to 10%. I wouldn't doubt it if they probably charge you more, knowing the way things are going on right now with the interest rates being so high. Some of these guys may be charging higher. Look, if a bank is charging like 8 to 10% right now, a company that does factoring could charge you more than 10%. So you got to keep that in mind, because here's the thing, guys. If you're going to put in the factoring percentage into play with however much money you want to make, with your profit, for the business that you're doing in your dump trucks, providing dump truck services, you got to remember now your margins, one, are going to be lower, but you're also having to charge significantly higher to cover for that factoring percentage, right? So with that being said, yes, you can use a factoring company. Is it convenient? In my opinion, I don't use a factoring company. I'd rather establish a good relationship with a local bank. I mentioned this before, guys, credit unions or a small bank, local bank that works with small businesses. All right, guys, if you don't know what a factoring company is, now that we're talking about factoring, basically what you need to know is the following, okay? They're gonna call you and say, Mr. Johnny Trucking, we know that you have a trucking business. You may be needing help with some funding. Hey, would you like to have some additional funding for your business to help your business grow? And you're gonna say, yeah, sure, definitely. So what they're gonna basically tell you is, hey, we can help you with that. And you're gonna be like, okay, great. But here's the deal. You can go off, get more jobs, maybe get more work, not have to worry about covering the funds for the people that you hire or for whatever expenses you may have, Mr. Johnny Trucking. We will provide you with those fundings, but in return, they're going to charge you a percentage, very similar to a bank. The only difference is that with the factoring, they're going to collect the money directly from your customer. not from you, Mr. Johnny Trucking, okay? So let's just say Mr. Johnny Trucking has a contract with ABC Construction and they're doing a road project, okay? Road and highway project. So ABC Construction is hiring Mr. Johnny Trucking, right? Mr. Johnny Trucking is getting funding from the factoring company. Well, the factoring company now, to cover their assets, what they're gonna do is they're gonna go directly to ABC Construction and make what they call a soft call and say, hey, this is XYZ factoring company. You know, we're partnered with Johnny Trucking, and we just want to let you know that from now on, you know, we can go ahead and start collecting payment for Mr. Johnny Trucking. This is how a factoring company works. Now, there's different ways that they go about doing business. This is just one of the ways, but to keep it in simple terms, guys, basically, they're going to take a percentage and they're going to collect the money directly, okay, from the contractor that hired you, Mr. Johnny Trucking. Now, guys, just want to let you know, if this is the only way you can find funding for your business, going the factoring route, then don't let it stop you from doing business. If it works for you, it works. But again, my personal opinion and suggestion is establish a relationship with a local bank that specifically works with small businesses. It's really good. It's coming in from Kevin Sorrell. What tips can you give on hiring workers and retaining workers for a long period of time? So, Kevin, first and foremost, man, treat people right. That's the number one thing. Treat people right. And what I mean by treat people right, treat people the way you want to be treated, right? So I like to treat people with a lot of respect. I like to treat them just like I want to be treated. So that's the number one thing. Make sure you treat them right. Number two, have a clear line of communication. Be straightforward with them, be respectful, but just address that up front, you want clear communication, to be very straightforward with you. I think that's extremely important. And then number three, make sure you're paying them right. Make sure that you're competitive when it comes to the pay rate. And when I say competitive, do your research. Find out what drivers are making in your market. If let's say they're making $25 an hour, I personally would pay them $25 or even more, depending on the qualities, depending on the experience that they have. So these are things that I would do, if I was you. And of course, you got to do research, on the driver. Make sure you do some background checks. Make sure that, you also get a resume. You call and find out, hey, if you worked with ABC Trucking in the past, give them a call. Find out, what he did at ABC Trucking. Was he just a driver, or did he go, above and beyond as a driver? What were his duties, responsibilities? And so, again, those are the three things that I would look for. And I believe if you do those three things, you can also keep them working with you and for you for a long time. All right, guys, this question is a great one coming in from Wendell. I've actually had communication with Wendell in the past. What's going on, Wendell? So to answer your question, but also it's a question that I've been getting from other people. Number one is, how much insurance and coverage is needed as a dump truck broker? So dump truck brokers, most of the time, companies are gonna ask for at least $1 million of general liability. They're gonna ask for $2 million of aggregate coverage, and they're gonna probably ask you for workers' comp, okay? And then they may even ask for an umbrella. An umbrella is usually gonna be a $5 million coverage to answer your questions regarding insurance with brokers. And now that we're on that subject, you gotta also remember, if you're gonna become a broker and you're gonna hire other owner-operators, you wanna make sure that you also have their insurance information. And don't forget, you need to make sure they add you on their policy as additional insured, and also have the subrogation. Next question, Wendell, great question, man. Does a contractor usually pay weekly? If so, you can pay the carriers, meaning the guys you hire, or do they pay on a net term? And do I have to factor? So great question. So to answer that, contractors can pay weekly. Some of them pay bi-weekly, some of them pay on net 25, some of them pay net 30. It just depends on the terms that you negotiate with the contractor. To answer your question though, it could range anywhere between a week to 30 days. So that's something that you and the contractor would negotiate. With that being said, owner-operators, if you're hiring them, you're gonna more than likely have to pay them every week, especially because you wanna make sure that these guys are always happy. You wanna make sure they're getting paid. You already know you're probably gonna need them the following week, right? So if you pay them every week, they're gonna be happy, and you're gonna also be happy that they're happy, okay? So yes, you want to pay them every week. Now, if the contractor is paying you every 30 days, well, this is part of becoming a dump truck broker. You may have to go net 30, right? And this is where I say you have to be prepared financially to become a dump truck broker. Again, you may only start with 3 or 4 trucks, right? You have to have some kind of financial backing, right? Especially at the beginning, you may only hire 3, 4, 5 guys, but if you're hiring 10 guys, then now we're talking, a lot of capital. So like I say in the beginning, you can start off with 3 or 4 guys, but establish an account, again, with a small business bank, right? A bank that helps small businesses, okay? And your financials will speak for themselves. Tell them, hey, look, I have this going on right now. I'm starting to hire more guys. Can we establish a business line of credit? So with that being said, guys, this is it for the Q&A. I hope that you found all these questions and answers valuable. We'll see you guys on the next one. And you already know, we're going to keep the wheels rolling and the cash flowing.